12th Biennial Conference of the Commonwealth Association for Public Administration and Management, CAPAM, was hosted here at the Marriott Hotel from October 21 to 24 under the timely theme, Transforming the Public Sector for Climate Governance. On this Info Hub In-Depth, we take a look at some of the major issues and activities coming out of the conference as public sector managers gather to brainstorm innovative ways of fostering economic growth while addressing the plethora of challenges posed by climate change.
The 2018 CAPAM conference got underway in Georgetown at the Marriott Hotel on Sunday, October 21, with a general members meeting. Minister of Public Service Dr. Rupert Roopnarine welcomed the delegates from across the Commonwealth while underscoring the importance of the public service to any nation.
But the very nature of our portfolios and our nexus with CAPAM have determined our focus over the years. We are in the business of providing the framework for the delivery of public services, fashioning the structure and procedures for the delivery of those services, and regulating the engagement of manpower for the ultimate delivery of those services. In a sense, we are the kernel of public services delivery. Hence, our fora have always focused on aspects of governance, since governance is critical to all that we do. In keeping with that trend, this year's forum is convened under the theme, Strengthening Public Sector Governance for Efficient and Effective Implementation. In that regard, implementation speaks to the question of pursuing our developmental agendas and sustaining their achievements. It is therefore apposite to note the nexus between governance and implementation. The toolkit on the implementation of the SDG goals will be the topics for general discussion. And in keeping with the Commonwealth's ongoing endeavor at equalization, the question of governance in small states will also be addressed. As your host, Guyana will also be making a presentation based on our own experiences and perspectives. All of what is presented will then be subjected to further interrogation in group sessions, out of which we should emerge with clarity, common understanding, and commonalities on approaches to the daunting task of strengthening public sector governance.
Further, he noted while governance is often seen as a process, its effectiveness is inevitably about ensuring goals are attained.
Undoubtedly, each country has its individual developmental goals, but in this environment of globalization, those goals are consensually seen as being akin to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, to which each of our countries has subscribed and to which we aspire. In that regard, inasmuch as the circumstance provides, Guyana will take the opportunity to share with you its perspective as articulated in Guyana's Green State Agenda, which in fact is the country's development strategy. While pursuing national development, Guyana recognizes the global problem of climate change and its causal factors, the non-renewability of certain resources, the need to be able to sustain growth through the prudent use of renewable resources, and our responsibility to generations to come.
Minister of State Joseph Harmon, in his brief address to the meeting, emphasized the need for discussions to be supported by the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, UN SDGs, with their over 160 complementing targets. The State Minister, who also holds responsibility for the Ministry of the Presidency's Department of Environment and other agencies falling under its purview, noted the adoption of appropriate human resource practices as another important step to be taken.
Thirdly, the increasing in the use of performance information in budget processes. And finally, ensuring transparency and accountability in the delivery of public service. Having them discussed, debated, and deliberated on at a forum of this nature provides the opportunity for us to build consensus on how to improve our performance. I have no doubt, therefore, that this will be achieved at this sitting. The kaleidoscope of cultures, experiences, and diverse political and public service leadership, experiences here from across our Commonwealth of Nations places us in a unique position to adopt innovative measures, take them forward, and see them through, to exchange our experiences of best practices that, once adopted, could improve significantly our ability to enhance public service efficiency and its effective delivery to all citizens.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenwich, delivering the keynote address, said as the senior officials seek to link governance with the implementation of policies, the many complexities between governance and development will become obvious.
There are many indicators of good governance, and amongst these I mentioned very quickly is participation, that's the degree of involvement of the affected stakeholders, fairness, which is the degree to which rules apply equally to everyone in society, accountability, the extent to which political actors are responsible to society for what they say and do, transparency, that is the degree of clarity and openness with which decisions are made, and efficiency, which is the extent to which limited human and financial resources are applied without unnecessary waste, delay, or corruption.
Director of the Governance and Peace Directorate within the Commonwealth Secretariat, Catalina Sapolu, said a key characteristic of good governance is an administration that is accountable to its citizens.
The importance of governance in management of national development cannot be overemphasized. Indeed, governance is about formation and stewardship of the formal and informal rules that regulate the public realm, including its political, economic, and social dimensions. In this regard, there is need for robust regulation, clear lines of accountability, and the ability for all stakeholders, including the public, to be involved in scrutinizing the operations of public institutions and how they deliver services. Citizens should be able to hold service providers accountable.
The Ministers' Forum featured plenary sessions on the SDGs and the strengthening of Commonwealth small states. The forum was also attended by ministers within the Ministries of Public Health, Social Protection and Public Affairs, Dr. Karen Cummins, Keith Scott and Dawn Hastings Williams, respectively.
The 2018 Biennial Conference of the Commonwealth Association for Public Administration and Management, CAPAM, was on Monday, October 22, officially declared open by Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, who was at the time performing the duties of President. Delivering the feature address, the Prime Minister underscored the importance of partnerships and collaboration across borders to tackling climate change.
The Cooperative Republic of Guyana is keen to collaborate with and learn from all innovative ideas. At this historic juncture, when we ourselves are engaged in reorienting and repositioning our public sector to embark on the path of a green state agenda, as well as management of our environment as we develop a new oil and gas industry. The latter, oil and gas, is the new buzz in town and brings with it new responsibilities for the public sector. While the focus would be to develop and implement strategies to secure the better life for our citizens, the public sector has to be prepared to grapple with environmental and climate governance challenges, as well as the green agenda as a whole. The public sector is a critical stakeholder in and guardian of the national patrimony. The national patrimony cannot be divorced from climate considerations any more than it can be separated from matters of economics relating to improving the lives of our citizens.
Oil and gas, the Prime Minister noted, is a new buzz in town, and with it comes new responsibilities for the public sector. In light of this, he pointed out that while the focus would be to develop and implement strategies to secure the better life for Guyanese, the public sector has to be prepared to grapple with environmental and climate governance challenges and the green agenda as a whole.
This Green State Development Strategy, GSDS, the framework for which is being refined, offers a 20-year national development plan and serves as a mechanism for achieving Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, that have been adopted by all United Nations member states. The GSDS is a customized plan specifically for Guyana, while the SDGs provide a global framework and context for this strategy. The GSDS, as a progressive policy document, is underpinned with a focus on the following: sound fiscal and monetary policy, green jobs and inclusive economic diversification, sustainable management of natural resources, transition to renewable energy, resilient infrastructure, green towns and urban public spaces, a healthy, educated, and socially cohesive population, good governance and strong institutions, and trade, investment, and international cooperation. All of the above would expand the mandate of the public sector, which should be characterized by interdependency of strategic actions. This, in turn, would require in the public sector available capacity, skills, and technology to bring about strategic changes to current practices.
President of the association, Tan Sri Dr. Ali Hamza, said the theme of this year's conference is timely given the emerging global environmental challenges.
With many regions experiencing both shared and unique climate challenges, it is clear that effective and efficient climate governance must occur across government systems through a multitude of sectors and industries in order to better tackle the complex environmental matters. Within this context, nations and their public service professionals are increasingly being called upon to urgently address, mitigate, and proactively manage this global transformation, we may say. At the same time, the reality of ensuring strong economic growth for a nation and its citizen is all-consuming.
The CAPAM president questioned how does the public sector manage this duality.
Are there policies, strategies, and approaches that account for both climate responsibility and economic prosperity? These are the questions that will be answered through our sub-teams and sub-group of experts and participants who will discuss all these topics. Because it's not only on the matter of governance, we must also think about rule of law, implementing the existing law when protecting environment.
The CAPAM president also urged that focus be placed on implementing the required legislation to adequately protect the environment. Meantime, Director of Governance and Peace Directorate, Commonwealth Secretariat, Catalina Sapolu, while echoing similar sentiments, called for the development of appropriate national strategies, such as the Green State Development Strategy, or GSDS.
The Commonwealth is supporting member states through the provision of technical assistance to facilitate the creation of adequate local capacity to address the threats posed by climate change. One important aspect of this assistance relates to access to climate finance, as mandated by Commonwealth Heads of Government at the 2018 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting that took place in London. Climate change has been identified as a major priority in the response to climate change. Our Climate Finance Access Hub works to ensure that Commonwealth's small and other vulnerable states have improved access to climate finance for their adaptation and mitigation goals by strengthening institutional capacity of the public sector.
The opening ceremony also featured cultural performances in the form of jazz and steel pan renditions. Speaking on the sidelines of the opening ceremony, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of the Presidency's Department of Public Service, Reginald Brotherson, shared his views on the importance of the conference.
Guyana, being part of the Commonwealth and being a financial and contributing member to the Commonwealth Association of Public Administration and Management, we see that offering Guyana the opportunity to play host to the Commonwealth is bringing to light some of the issues that we have with climate change, the environment, and all of these. And as a country that is being managed also by public servants, we figured that our contribution, our experiences to share with CAPAM, the Commonwealth, would be very ideal for the movement and moving it forward.
Chief Executive Officer of CAPAM, Gay Hamilton, also shared her expectations.
We're talking about climate change. So we are a practitioner-based organization, and we deal with information sharing, knowledge sharing, and networking, specifically for the public service in Commonwealth countries. So someone maybe ask us, why climate change? Well, climate change is permeating every part of the fabric of our society and of our governments, and public servants need to be prepared for that transformation. So right now as we speak, there is a panel discussion going on with the United Nations, and they're looking at climate change through the lens of gender, through the lens of agriculture, through the lens of migration. So you can see that just about any ministry, any public servant needs to get up to par on climate change and be prepared to integrate that into their policy decisions.
Later in the evening, a reception was hosted for the CAPAM delegates at State House by Prime Minister Nagamutu. Delegates took advantage of the opportunity to network, learn a little about Guyanese culture, and even share ideas in a relaxed environment.
Scores of the participants attending the Commonwealth Association for Public Administration and Management CAPAM conference on the evening of Monday, October 22, were afforded the opportunity to view the various aspects of the Guyanese culture at an exhibition held at the Umaniana.
The art and craft exhibition showcased locally made jewelry, ceramics, pottery, and paintings that spotlighted the use of local products and the country's diversity. Kunja Kumar, an Indian representative, said the exhibition is one that he appreciates since art and culture are often overlooked.
First of all, let me thank you people and your government to preserve the handicraft, because it is gradually decaying and declining. But what I can find it here, that so many handicraft works and the people who are working for that are doing very magnificent jobs. For example, and collecting the local things, like for they were telling that some juice is coming from a plant and he's making handicraft out of that, very beautiful handicraft out of that. And such type of things are there. Using banana strip, they are making some beautiful dolls. So it's very nice that you are preserving the handicrafts.
Emma Doyle, representing the Gulf and Caribbean Fisheries Institute, noted the green aspect of the products exhibited is one she will support as it benefits the country and its resources.
Well, I'm really pleased to be able to come here. I mean, Guyana is such a special place. I think when I travel to somewhere new, I'm always looking for things that are really unique, that are special to a place. And there are so many places where you can buy, the same kind of souvenirs or the same jewellery over and over. I work in the Caribbean region, and for cruise ship tourists, often things are very similar. But coming here, I have to say, it's been fun to find sustainable products. Green Guyana is something that I'd like to help support. So I don't really want to buy something that's going to be environmentally unsustainable. I'm looking for something that's good for the forest. And I love the jewellery that you can find here that has seeds in it. And they're seeds of Guyanese trees, which are a really nice souvenir to take away.
Dr. John Kauzaya, United Nations representative, said the exhibition presented the delegates with an occasion to view the beauty and diversity of Guyana.
When I looked at some of the artwork and the crafts, it sort of reflected the culture that I didn't know, the culture of Guyana. And I asked the lady, and she was explaining to me how some of those crafts are related to the way culturally they used to dress. And for me, that's a very big lesson.
The delegates were given a hands-on demonstration of how Guyana's smart classrooms work. Information Technology Coordinator for the National Center for Educational Resource Development, Marcia Thomas, explained.
With the help of the e-governance unit, we have started connecting all the schools in Guyana. And so every child will have access to education. Every day we have master teachers in here teaching. Any child who missed school can go into Smart Class Guyana and pull up that lesson.
It was highlighted by Kenyan delegate Juma Gabriel that following the demonstration he understood why similar attempts to implement the system in his country were unsuccessful.
We have tried the same, but I see where ours didn't work. We gave our tablets to all the pupils. They went with them at home. Within a month, they were all lost. I think what I've learned is the controlled environment and the empowerment of the teachers, that they first started with empowering the teachers, and then the enlightenment came.
Similar sentiments were echoed by his fellow delegates who plan to implement the new learning system in their respective countries. At a closing ceremony hosted on Wednesday, October 24, delegates were encouraged to continue networking and sharing solutions to combat climate change. Chairman of the Board of the National Accreditation Guyana, Vincent Alexander, remarked that while CAPAM's Forum of Public Service Ministers and CAPAM's 2018 conference were convened under different themes, they both sought to address the global issue of climate change.
Governance has to be seen as a goal-oriented process, as a process that ensures not only good decision-making, but decision-making for the good. It is this problematic that underscores the relevance of the discussions over the last 4 days. Those discussions sought to articulate what is the nexus between development and good governance, and equally important, how the implementation of the SDGs should be pursued.
The CAPAM conference concluded on Wednesday, October 24, with the International Innovation Awards. Awards were presented during the CAPAM banquet and celebrate the spirit of innovation in the public service by recognizing organizations that have made significant contributions to improving governance and services in the public sector. Minister of State Joseph Harmon.
This conference was based on our deep commitment to the program and activities of the Commonwealth of Nations and all of its efforts to contribute to the sustainable development of its members, the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals 2030, and the narrowing of gaps and the improvement of the welfare and quality of life of all peoples of our planet.
Chairman of the awards, Margaret Sainer, said the 12 finalists exemplify what is best about the public service and show what is possible.
Many of these innovations speak to the resilience, determination, and leadership of those involved, who often understate the challenges and obstacles faced. These finalists have demonstrated vision, ingenuity, and sensitivity to citizens' and colleagues' needs. Some innovations were strongly community-based, while others focused on equipping the public service to better serve citizens or to enhance economic or social potential. They exemplify what is best about the public service.
Designed for an international audience of senior public sector managers and administrators, the three-day event offered insightful dialogue, theoretical and practical knowledge exchange, and networking opportunities. This has been InfoHub In-Depth. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.